And joining me now on What Now to discuss this is a media analyst and CEO Encase Consulting, Ike Ogbuebile. I understand that we do not have him yet. He will join us as soon as we are able to establish. We understand that we have him now. Good to have you join us.
Hi, Precious. How are you?
I'm well. Compliments of the season.
Same to you, dear. Same to you.
So this is very unprecedented in the U.S. for any sitting or former president to have this kind of charges brought against him. But how likely is it that prosecution will be brought, considering that the Department of Justice is not obliged to follow these recommendations?
Well, I guess that's where the rubber meets the road, Precious. Congressman Benny Thompson and his team over the last 18 months have gone through the whole combing and trying to find out what actually happened at that insurrection. It's amazing that you and I were having this conversation almost 2 years ago, January 6, 2021. And here we are at the end of the year 2022, and they've come out with what they call criminal referrals. They've made those 4 referrals to the DOJ, which is the Department of Justice. It's now what the Department of Justice want to do with it. Are they obliged to go forward and prosecute former President Trump? They're not. So we don't know what's going to happen, especially now that the Democrats have actually lost Congress. So come January, it's going to be the Republicans in power. But one thing I can tell you about the American system, just like Congressman Reskin said earlier on yesterday, that the American system is not a system where foot soldiers go to prison or go to jail and the ringleaders get a pass, unlike some parts of the world where you see that kind of stuff happen. They might not prosecute him, or they might choose to do so. No one really knows, Precious. No one knows.
And it's interesting you mentioned foot soldiers, because we know that some of those who were involved in insurrection, the Proud Boys and some other groups that also been investigated. Some of them are now facing trial. But still on this criminal referral by the January the 6th committee, this committee, interesting, again, you mentioned that it's been sitting for 18 months, but there have been attacks against this committee, especially for those who say it is partisan. About 7 Democrats and 2 anti-Trump Republicans. Does that invalidate the findings of this committee?
Well, I don't want to use the word anti-Trump, because it is not 7 pro-Trump or pro-anti-Trump Democrats. It is 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, which makes it a bipartisan committee. Now, the outcome of it is a total different story altogether. This is a system that works. The American system that works. There was an insurrection that took place that we're trying to block, or would I say cause trouble with a peaceful transition of power. Americans have done this for almost 200 years now, and then all of a sudden there's a problem, and they want to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's the focus, that it doesn't happen again, because if it does, it will begin to tamper with democracy. And once American democracy is tampered with, the democracy of the rest of the world would completely tampered with. And that's the big issue here. Let's take our eyes off the issues of politics and what party this committee is made out of. We know that American politics right now is so polarized, and they have to make some amendments, adjustments to get the people back. Democracy belongs to the people and the people alone.
And you talked about ensuring that it doesn't happen again. And one of the things that people were requesting earlier, and by people I mean some of the American public, they were saying, look, there should be a legislation or some sort of law policy that allows does disallow him from running for office, and that's President Trump. But when you look at a recent polls, he has continued to be unpopular amongst very vast swathes of the American public. He's also now dropping even in the Republican Party. Does this have any ramification for his 2024 presidential bid?
First of all, let me correct that impression. In the Republican Party, I don't think that Donald Trump or former President Donald Trump has the hold that he had initially. Gradually, the party moderates are beginning to find their place again. So that he might not end up being the ticket holder for the Republican Party is very, very high at this day. There are other people who are coming out from the woodworks who are making a great impact, who are more on the moderate side. And I think the party, the Republican Party, wants to get the party back again. The second question, the initial part, is if he is found with any criminal charges, or does these referrals turn out to be any kind of criminal issues that take place, he can never, ever become president of the United States ever again. Because once you have a criminal background of some sort, it's over. And I guess that's what they're trying to push for.
But if they don't become criminal charges, and let's also bear in mind that this is not the only charge he's facing. There is the tax issues around tax fraud. There is the documents he's said to have taken from the White House, and these are classified documents, by the way. But do you think that he will be able to find his political footing if any of these do not become serious criminal charges in court?
Well, if they don't become criminal charges and they become a distraction to the Republican Party picking their right candidates, he's not going to be the one. Remember, again, like I said, in the case of it's not like parts of the world where you handpick someone and say he has to be your candidate, or the outgoing, what's it called again? The president says, I want him or I want her. In this case, it's the people that decide. The people. It's democracy at its full power. The people will decide if this is the candidate they want to represent them in the upcoming election. And if he has all these distractions taking place, I don't think he's going to emerge as the candidate. The governor of Florida is out there, and he's coming in real hard, and he's on the moderate side too.
This is indeed a test of how large the Trump base is, considering all that has played out so far. But we'll continue to monitor events. Thank you so much for talking to us, as always. Media analyst and CEO Encase Consulting, Ike Ogbuebile.
Thanks a lot, Precious, for having me, and compliments of the season.
Thank you.